Why do some men fade the moment they leave while others live rent-free in her mind long after they're gone? Here's the truth. Most men never hear, you don't stay in her thoughts by doing more. You stay by being different, and the most unforgettable man is not the loudest, he's the one who leads with quiet strength, emotional clarity, and inner control. Stoicism teaches you to create space, not to manipulate, but to let her feel the absence of your presence. And when your energy is rooted, detached, and purposeful, she doesn't just remember you, she replays you. Right now you might be trying to impress her, fix things, or stay relevant, but that energy pushes her away. If you want to stay on her mind, you need to stop chasing attention and start commanding emotional gravity. If you're ready to leave a mark without saying a word like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment. I lead with energy, not effort. Number 1, become the man she remembers even in your absence. What if your presence was so powerful she could feel it even when you weren't around? What if you didn't need the perfect text or the cleverest words, just a stillness, so anchored, so rare, that it lingered in her mind long after the conversation ended? This isn't a fantasy, it's what happens when a man lives with self. Command modern dating advice will teach you tactics: when to text, what to say, how to mirror her interest. But true magnetic presence doesn't come from outside tricks, but inner discipline. It comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and walking that path with unwavering purpose. That's what Stoic philosophy teaches. Not how to win affection, but embody value. And the men who do this, they don't chase, they attract, not by being louder, but by being more grounded, deliberate, and still. Marcus Aurelius didn't speak of love games. He spoke of character waste. No more time arguing. What a good man should be one when you live like this. Women feel your absence as much as your presence, not because you played a part, but because you became the part. Here's what makes this power so rare. You're not reacting to the world, you're creating your own. You don't show up whenever she calls, not because you're unavailable, but because you're unshakable. You don't explain yourself constantly because your life is an explanation. You don't bend your focus to fit her schedule. You invite her into your rhythm and she notices, not with logic, but with instinct. Your energy is calm, not performative. Your attention is rare, not scattered. And when you give it, it means something that leaves a mark, not the quantity of time, but the impact quality. When a man becomes this disciplined, intentional, detached, but deeply present, he transforms into a memory, not a fling, not a regret, but something harder to shake. So stop trying to impress, start trying to align, let go of neediness and step into sovereignty. Because when a man becomes his own source of validation, the world, including her, leans in to understand him. You want her to remember. You don't aim to please. Aim to become unforgettable by being deeply, deliberately yourself. Comment below. I create impact, not noise. Number 2, the power of scarcity. Why being less available makes you more desired. Imagine walking into a store and seeing a product marked limited edition. Instantly your attention sharpens. You might not even need it, but its rarity makes it valuable. The same principle applies to your presence. Most men, desperate to feel wanted, give too much. Too soon they text immediately, say yes to every plan, and stretch themselves thin to be available, but they don't realize this. The more available you are, the less you're valued. Scarcity isn't manipulation, it's a reflection of purpose. When your time is filled with mission, discipline, and growth, you naturally become less accessible. And it's that absence, that purposeful distance that makes a woman pause and think, where is he? More importantly, why am I thinking about him? Seneca wrote, associate with people likely to improve you. You dilute your energy if your life is filled with noise and reaction. But when you prioritize what matters and guard your time like a rare resource, others begin to treat it that way too. Being everywhere is easy. Being selective takes strength. A Stoic man doesn't vanish to play games. He limits his presence because he values his energy. He's not constantly checking his phone because he's living his life, building, refining, aligning. And when he does show up, his presence carries weight. Women don't miss you because you disappear. They miss you because your presence meant something. When it was there, it changed the energy. It brought clarity, calm, challenge. And now your absence creates a vacuum, not of noise, but of substance. This is how you become unforgettable, not by doing more, but by doing less, with greater intensity and purpose. So let her wonder, let her sit in the silence you've left, not because you're punishing her, but because you're investing in something bigger yourself. The man who lives with discipline becomes rare, and the rare man is always the one worth chasing. Comment below. I make my presence rare, and that's why it's valuable. Number 3. Detachment isn't coldness, it's the highest form of confidence. You don't need to be distant to be powerful, but you do need to be detached, not from love, not from people, but from outcome, from needing things to go a certain way to feel whole. That's the quiet secret of every magnetic man. He doesn't hold on too tightly, and because of that, he never chokes. The connection, most men think detachment means being aloof, heartless, indifferent, but real detachment is the opposite. It's having the depth to care deeply and the strength to not cling. It's the ability to walk away from something you want without losing your center. That's Stoicism in practice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." When a man is truly grounded, he can love without begging, give without needing, offer his energy and take it back gracefully when it's not met. This is what women feel. Even when they can't explain it, they can sense when a man wants them out of fullness, not out of emptiness, and that makes all the difference. Clingy energy pushes love away, detached presence invites it closer. When you're emotionally detached, you're no longer chasing control, you're choosing alignment. You can say no to disrespect without drama. You can walk away from chaos without needing to explain yourself, not because you're heartless, but because you love yourself enough to protect your peace. And here's the paradox: the more you let go, the more space you create for someone to choose you, not out of pressure, but out of desire. Because your calm, your self-respect, your quiet sovereignty, it magnetizes. She begins to wonder, why isn't he affected? Why isn't he chasing? Why do I feel like I'm the one who needs to rise to meet him? That's the power of detachment. It's not indifference, it's emotional maturity. It's saying, I'll give my all, but I'll never beg for what's not aligned. So stop trying to force love, start standing in it. Comment below, I care deeply but never cling. Number 4, unpredictability isn't chaos, it's the spark that keeps her guessing. You text at the same time every morning. You always say yes to plans, you respond within minutes. Even if it means pausing your own life at first, it feels romantic, but predictability slowly dulls the edge. The mystery fades, and with it the emotional tension that makes attraction intoxicating. Traction isn't born from consistency alone, it's born from disruption, from the unexpected. She can't fully map from the man because he isn't stuck in routine. He's alive, evolving and moved by purpose more than pattern. This is where unpredictability done right becomes your secret weapon, not to play games, but to embody growth, to let your life be too full, too inspired, too in motion to fit into someone else's expectations. Stoicism teaches us to value intention over impulse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as if it were your last." That doesn't mean being reckless, it means being present and purpose-driven, saying no when you need solitude, changing plans when something more aligned arises, skipping the reply because you're immersed in your craft. That unpredictability, that real life happening on your terms, awakens something in her. It creates an emotional contrast. When is he available? What's he doing? Has he forgotten me? Why does that excite me? She's not obsessed because you vanish. She's obsessed because your presence is earned, not expected. You become a moving target, not evasive, but exciting, not unreliable, but uncontainable. And then that's what feminine energy thrives on, the tension between knowing and not knowing, between safety and spark. So don't be afraid to break the rhythm, skip the routine message, say no when you're focused, let her feel the friction of not being your entire world, because that makes her want a place in it. Let your purpose be why she can't predict you and can't forget you. Comment below, I don't live to be predictable, I live to be purposeful. Number 5, she won't remember your presence, she'll remember how it felt. You think she'll remember your words, compliments and clever timing. But that's not what lingers, what stays with her. Long after the calls stop and the chats fade, is this how she felt when she was around you. Emotional memory is the real currency of attraction, not constant presence, not availability, but impact, the kind that sinks into her nervous system like a scent she can't place, but keeps inhaling. A single moment of deep connection when your attention was full, your presence grounded and your energy undistracted is worth more than 100 shallow conversations. This is the domain of the Stoic man. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." But kindness doesn't mean overgiving. It means being deeply there in the moment, saying the right thing at the right time, not out of habit, but from a place of presence. It's how you looked at her when she wasn't sure of herself, the way you held her gaze without flinching, the calm in your voice when her world felt heavy. These things brand her heart. Not because they were dramatic, but because they were real. You don't need grand gestures, you need emotional sharpness, precision, presence. You become unforgettable when you slow down, see her and reflect that you're attuned. Even if only for 10 minutes, you become the contrast to the noise she's used to. Women don't crave more time, they crave meaningful time, and the man who makes her feel seen, felt, and safe, even briefly, takes up space in her memory, in her body, in her dreams. So stop trying to always be there. Start aiming to be remembered. Let her miss you, not because you're absent, but because you left something with her that few men ever do. A true emotional imprint. Comment below. I create memories, not routines. Number 6. Silent charisma. How the Stoic man leaves a lasting emotional imprint. He doesn't try to be the loudest in the room. He doesn't overreach for attention, nor does he dance for approval, and yet somehow she can't stop thinking about him. Why? Because there's something hauntingly magnetic about the man who doesn't need to be seen to be remembered. This is silent charisma, and it doesn't come from talk, it comes from truth. A man who knows who he is, walks in alignment with that truth, and doesn't need applause to confirm it in a world obsessed with visibility. The man who moves with quiet intent becomes unforgettable. Stoicism trains this kind of man. Marcus Aurelius didn't command legions with shouting, he led with presence. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, he wrote. So what are the thoughts that color your presence? Insecurity, desperation, or calm, self-rust, and purpose? When a woman feels you without you needing to say anything, it's because your energy speaks for you, your detachment from outcome, your stillness in chaos, your ability to see her without trying to own her. These things create emotional gravity, the kind she keeps orbiting long after you've gone quiet. She won't remember how often you text or how clever your jokes were. She'll remember the space you created where she could feel safe, seen, curious, and alive. And she'll return to that space in her mind again and again, not because you chased her, but because you left something rare behind. That's the Stoic edge. No drama, neediness, or performance, just silent impact. If you want to be the man she can't forget, don't try harder, hold deeper, speak less, move slower, live more honestly, and let your absence speak what your presence imprinted. Comment below. I lead with quiet strength, and that's why I'm remembered. You came here thinking it was about the perfect text, the perfect timing, but now you know she remembers how you made her feel when you didn't try at all. The Stoic man doesn't force presence, he becomes it. He doesn't chase, he withholds calmly, and that silence, that self-control, it haunts her in a way no performance ever could, because when she sees you're unbothered by her silence, when she feels your peace in her absence, she starts to question the chaos in her own mind, and that's when memory becomes obsession. So don't try to remind her. Become unforgettable by being unshakable. Your absence is louder than your words. If your energy is disciplined enough to let her feel it, if you're ready to stop chasing her thoughts and start owning her attention. Like this video, subscribe and comment. I don't push to be remembered. I embody what's hard to forget. Stay calm, stay distinct. Because once you master your presence, you'll never be erased.